Have you ever felt it? That quiet, sometimes unspoken, feeling that kind of gnaws at you when you scroll through headlines, read about staggering inequality, or just observe the relentless push for economic growth at seemingly any cost.
Hmm.
It's a lot to process, isn't it? This pervasive sense of discord often leaves us wondering, is there truly another way to organize our world? A path that leads to genuine flourishing for all.
That feeling, while it feels very modern in how it manifests, it actually resonates deeply with some really ancient wisdom.
Mm.
Today, we're taking a deep dive into a framework that directly addresses these very contemporary challenges, but through the profound lens of an ancient concept, the Kali Yuga.
The Kali Yuga.
Yeah, it's often described as the age of darkness and discord. We're going to explore how a new vision, detailed in what's called the Kalkiist Manifesto, proposes a pretty radical roadmap out of these issues. It offers what some might call a revolutionary path forward.
Right.
At its heart, Kalkiism is this transformative societal blueprint. It's rooted in ancient principles of Dharma, and it seeks to establish a global system of universal equity, sustainability, and collective well-being. And it does this by reimagining fundamental aspects of our economy and governance.
So our mission in this deep dive is to meticulously unpack that Kalkiist Manifesto. We'll explore its unexpected origins, its really revolutionary economic and social mechanisms, and its bold aspirations for global transformation. And this is all based directly on the comprehensive source material provided to us.
Exactly.
Get ready, because your perspective on money, work, and even what societal success means is about to be truly challenged. Setting the stage. The problem of Kali Yuga. Okay, so let's set the stage. Let's start by introducing this fascinating ancient concept that really underpins the entire premise of the Kalkiist Manifesto. We're talking about the yugas.
Indeed. For millennia, human civilizations have grappled with these profound questions about existence, morality, the cycles of time,
Yeah.
And among the most enduring frameworks to understand these ebbs and flows of human experience is the ancient Hindu concept of the yugas.
Right.
It posits this cyclical view of time. In this cosmology, time is divided into four grand epochs: the Satya Yuga, the Treta Yuga, the Dvapara Yuga, and finally, the Kali Yuga.
Okay, 4 ages.
4 ages. And each of these yugas, our sources tell us, represents a progressive decline. A decline in virtue, in morality, and in spiritual awareness. It moves from an age of truth and enlightenment, the Satya Yuga, down to one of significant discord and decline in the Kali Yuga.
And the Kali Yuga is where the descriptions become particularly stark, isn't it? It's depicted as the fourth and final age, this age of darkness and discord.
Mhm.
What are the defining characteristics of this particular period, according to these ancient texts? What makes it so challenging?
Well, the Kali Yuga is profoundly characterized by a widespread breakdown of dharma.
Dharma. Righteousness, moral order.
Exactly, righteousness or moral order. This signifies an erosion of spiritual values and, crucially, the dominance of materialism. The scriptures vividly describe as symptoms, painting a picture that, for many people today, feels eerily familiar.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Greed and dishonesty, for instance, become pervasive forces. Leaders, rather than serving the collective good, often act primarily out of self-interest. They prioritize short-term power or personal gain over long-term welfare.
Sounds familiar.
Doesn't it? Families, once seen as these foundational cornerstones of stability and mutual support, begin to disintegrate under various pressures. And individuals become increasingly consumed by selfish desires, losing sight of a higher purpose or their interconnectedness with others. Even knowledge itself, rather than being a tool for upliftment and collective progress, is often twisted and used for personal gain. Truth becomes a rare and often contested commodity. And the pace of life accelerates dramatically. Everyone's busy, constant busyness. But paradoxically, the sense of meaning and genuine fulfillment diminishes. This is precisely why it's considered an age of darkness and discord. It's a profound challenge to humanity's collective well-being and moral fabric.
It's truly fascinating how these ancient descriptions resonate so strikingly with modern realities. It feels like they're holding up a mirror to a lot of what we observe around us, doesn't it?
It really does.
This ancient wisdom directly sets the stage for the specific problems the Kalkiist Manifesto aims to address. It's almost as if the diagnosis of the problem comes from millennia ago. Modern manifestations, symptoms in our world. So, if the ancient texts describe this era of decline, how do those warnings translate into our present day? How does the concept of Kali Yuga, this age of moral decay and discord, manifest in the modern world around us, make itself, undeniable?
Well, The sources make it really clear that the problems attributed to Kali Yuga find direct and, frankly, undeniable parallels in contemporary society. It's almost as if the symptoms prophesied are unfolding right before our eyes.
Okay, like what specifically?
One of the most glaring examples is the rampant inequality and greed we witness globally. The relentless pursuit of economic growth, as our sources state, has widened the gap between the rich and the poor, leading to truly unprecedented levels of inequality.
Yeah, the statistics are staggering.
They are. We see billionaires amassing wealth beyond imagination. In fact, reports indicate the richest 1% now own more than half of global wealth. Meanwhile, tragically, millions struggle daily just to access basic necessities like food, clean water, healthcare.
It's hard to even comprehend that disparity.
It is. And this stark imbalance, where the very fundamentals of human dignity are denied to so many while a few accumulate vast fortunes, is directly connected to the Kali Yuga trait of adharma.
Adharma, the breakdown of order.
Exactly. It suggests a fundamental disruption of the natural order, where exploitation, rather than collaboration or mutual well-being, becomes the norm, driving societal fragmentation.
It's a profound thought that this extreme economic imbalance, which often feels like a purely modern phenomenon, is being linked back to an ancient concept of moral decay. It makes you reconsider the very foundations of our economic system.
Absolutely.
And then there's technology. We often celebrate it as humanity's greatest achievement, right? But the Manifesto seems to view it with a critical, almost cautionary eye.
Indeed. Technology is presented very much as a double-edged sword. While it certainly offers immense potential for progress and connection, the digital age, unfortunately, also fuels misinformation, cybercrime, and a culture of comparison and envy.
Oh, definitely. Social media comes to mind.
Exactly. Social media platforms, for instance, were ostensibly designed to foster communication and connect us globally.
Yeah.
Yet they often paradoxically breed division, anxiety, and loneliness.
Yeah.
The incessant pursuit of likes, followers, or viral moments, as our source highlights, mirrors the superficiality and moral decline described in ancient texts. It points to a shift from meaningful, deep human connection to a more superficial, validation-seeking existence. Our worth gets judged by external metrics rather than internal well-being, and that's a crucial symptom of the Kali Yuga's pervasive materialism.
And beyond the social and economic, there's the environment, which feels like a global crisis that just can no longer be ignored. How does Kali Yuga explain our relationship with the planet?
Absolutely. Environmental degradation is another glaring symptom directly attributed to the Kali Yuga in these analyses. Humanity's insatiable appetite for resources, driven by unchecked consumption and the pursuit of endless economic growth, has led directly to deforestation, pollution, and climate change.
It's undeniable now.
It is, and this isn't just about environmental damage. It's analyzed as a profound disconnection from the principles of harmony and sustainability that supposedly characterized earlier yugas. The ecological crisis we face, therefore, is framed not merely as a scientific or economic problem, but as a profound spiritual and ethical one. It threatens not only human survival, but also the delicate balance of life on Earth. It suggests a fundamental imbalance in our relationship with the natural world, where the planet is seen as something to be exploited rather than a sacred entity to be respected and preserved. This unchecked exploitation is seen as a clear manifestation of adharma.
So what about the internal state of people? How does this age of discord impact the human condition itself? Our minds, our spirits?
Well, the very heart of the Kali Yuga, according to our sources, is the erosion of individual and collective spiritual awareness. In the earlier ages, the idea is that people were guided by a deep sense of higher purpose, interconnectedness, a recognition of the sacredness of life.
A different mindset entirely.
Exactly. In stark contrast, the Kali Yuga fosters a fragmented worldview, where individuals tend to prioritize personal gain over the well-being of others. This loss of spiritual grounding, this disconnection from a deeper sense of meaning and purpose beyond material acquisition, manifests in widespread mental health issues. Things like anxiety, depression, and a pervasive sense of meaninglessness.
We see so much of that today.
We do. It's not just an external crisis, but an internal one, leading to an increasing sense of emptiness and existential malaise, even sometimes amidst material abundance. Furthermore, the commodification of relationships is noted as another hallmark of this age.
Commodification. How so?
While families, once considered the cornerstone of social stability and emotional support, are increasingly fracturing. The organic bonds of love, mutual respect, and intrinsic worth are often supplanted by transactional dynamics, where relationships are valued more for what they can provide rather than their inherent connection.
Transactional relationships.
Yeah. And this erosion of trust and empathy extends beyond individual relationships. It impacts communities where divisive ideologies and identities overshadow the shared human experience, leading to polarization and a breakdown of collective solidarity.
And if this is happening to individuals and communities, it must surely impact leadership and the very institutions meant to guide society, right? What does the Kali Yuga say about our governance?
It does, profoundly. Leadership in the Kali Yuga often reflects the very qualities that exacerbate the age's problems. Our sources point out that political and corporate leaders are often driven by ambition and self-interest, frequently prioritizing short-term gains over long-term welfare, sacrificing foundational stability for immediate, often fleeting advantage.
Short-termism.
Right.
Yeah.
This leads to a pervasive issue where corruption and inefficiency undermine public trust in institutions,
Mhm.
creating this vicious cycle of cynicism and disengagement among the populace.
Which we see everywhere.
Exactly. And what's perhaps even more concerning is how institutions designed to uphold justice and equality have become instruments of oppression. Legal systems, for example, often appear to favor the powerful and wealthy, rather than ensuring universal justice for all citizens, regardless of their status. Education systems, rather than leveling the playing field and fostering equal opportunity, can actually perpetuate inequality by favoring certain groups or maintaining structures that disadvantage others. And healthcare systems, instead of prioritizing patient care and universal access, too often prioritize profit, creating a two-tiered system where quality of care is dictated by economic means.
So the systems themselves break down or become part of the problem.
Precisely. The inability of these foundational institutions to effectively address systemic issues highlights the pervasive dysfunction and imbalance that is said to define the Kali Yuga. It's a world where the very structures meant to protect and uplift us can become part of the problem, trapping us further in the cycle of discord. See hope amidst the darkness and a call to action.
Wow. Okay, that sounds incredibly bleak. So is there any hope amidst this darkness? Or are we just destined to spiral further into discord, kind of fulfilling some ancient prophecy without any agency?
Well, despite the profound challenges and the seemingly grim descriptions, the ancient texts actually emphasize that the Kali Yuga is not without hope. In fact, they remind us that even in the darkest times, the potential for renewal and transformation exists.
Okay, that's good to hear.
Yeah, the Bhagavad Gita, which is a revered text in Indian philosophy, explicitly reminds us that Dharma righteousness can be restored through individual and collective effort. The presence of even a small number of righteous individuals, those who uphold truth and compassion, can act as a powerful catalyst for change. They can create ripples that expand outward, igniting hope in others.
So individuals matter.
Absolutely. The text suggests that precisely because the conditions are so challenging, the potential for radical transformation becomes even more pronounced.
So the very intensity of the problems can, in a strange way, be a source of inspiration for innovative solutions. It's almost a divine paradox, isn't it?
Exactly. The source material highlights this paradox. The very intensity of Kali Yuga's problems can inspire innovative solutions. Consider the rapid pace of technological advancement we mentioned earlier.
Right, the double-edged sword.
Yes. While it has its downsides when misapplied, it also offers powerful tools to address global challenges. We're talking about innovations ranging from advanced renewable energy solutions that could reverse environmental degradation to the application of artificial intelligence in healthcare that could democratize access and improve outcomes for millions.
If used correctly.
Exactly. If guided by a different set of values, values aligned with Dharma, these technological leaps could be powerful instruments for collective good. And beyond technology, we're seeing social movements globally advocating for equality, sustainability, mental health. These are not isolated phenomena. They reflect a growing collective awareness of the urgent need for systemic change, a yearning for something better than the discord and inequality we currently experience.
Yeah, people are definitely pushing back.
They are. This isn't just a lament. It's a profound recognition that we're at a crossroads, where the urgency of the problems demands a transformative response.
So what does this all mean for you, the listener? Is understanding Kali Yuga just an intellectual exercise, maybe a historical curiosity, or does it demand something more personal, something actionable from us?
It's definitely framed as a call to action, a profound invitation to participate in renewal. If this age is defined by moral decay and disconnection, then the antidote, as our source material suggests, lies in cultivating integrity, compassion, and a sense of purpose.
Okay, starting with ourselves.
It begins, crucially, with individual transformation, making conscious choices to live with awareness, aligning one's actions with higher principles like truthfulness and generosity, and consciously working to overcome personal greed or self-interest. But, and this is important, it doesn't stop there.
Right, because individual change isn't enough for systemic problems.
Exactly. Collective action is equally important, as individual changes alone cannot dismantle entrenched systemic issues. Building equitable systems, fostering strong communities that prioritize mutual aid, and effectively addressing environmental degradation all require collaboration, shared vision, and organized effort.
Which is where something like the Kalkiist Manifesto comes in.
Precisely. The Kalkiist Manifesto, which we're about to delve into, represents exactly this. An ambitious attempt to reimagine society based on the very principles of equality and sustainability that directly counter the decay of Kali Yuga. By addressing the root causes of these pervasive problems at both individual and systemic levels, such initiatives offer a glimpse of what a post-Kali Yuga world might truly look like. A world of harmony, not discord, built on cooperation rather than relentless competition.
True.
The Kalkiist Manifesto, a revolutionary blueprint.
Okay, let's unpack this. A manifesto born in a spiritual gateway, Kathmandu, blending ancient wisdom with cutting-edge expertise from economists and medical professionals. This is certainly a unique genesis for a societal blueprint. How did the Kalkiist Manifesto actually come into being, and what kind of minds were behind it?
Well, the source material makes it very clear that the Kalkiist Manifesto was not born in isolation. Instead, it emerged from a powerful convergence of ideas, disciplines, and shared global concerns. It was a collective recognition that the existing paradigms were, frankly, failing humanity and the planet.
The sense of urgency.
Definitely. The seed of this manifesto was symbolically planted in Kathmandu, Nepal, a city uniquely positioned at the crossroads of ancient spirituality and modern challenges. This city is just steeped in spiritual heritage and is often described as the gateway to Shambhala.
Shambhala, the mythical kingdom.
Exactly. A mythical kingdom believed to symbolize enlightenment, harmony, and ideal society. This symbolic location became the epicenter for what is described as a revolutionary intellectual movement aimed at reimagining the future of humanity from its very foundations.
So it wasn't just a philosophical endeavor or a purely spiritual one. It had very specific, practical, and highly trained minds behind it, aiming for real-world application.
Precisely. The manifesto's creators were a truly diverse and formidable team, 50 top economists and 50 renowned medical professionals. This blend of cutting-edge economic foresight, public health expertise, and deep philosophical underpinnings allowed them to approach the world's systemic problems from a really holistic perspective.
That's quite a team.
It is. Their shared mission was singularly focused to address the systemic problems that define the Kali Yuga, specifically profound inequality, pervasive greed, and the disintegration of social order and spiritual awareness. Their ultimate goal was to develop a comprehensive model that could serve as a blueprint for global transformation, with the initial, courageous step of implementing it in Nepal as the pilot country.
Okay.
It truly sets it apart as a framework designed for real-world application, not just theoretical discussion or academic debate. This interdisciplinary approach is what gives the manifesto its unique strength and audacity. B, core vision and radical tenets.
So with these extraordinary origins and this impressive team, what's the core vision of the Kalkiist Manifesto? What kind of society does it envision, and what are its truly radical tenets that set it apart from any current system we know?
At its core, the Kalkiist Manifesto envisions a society where harmony and equity replace competition and exploitation, where the very drivers of human interaction shift from scarcity and accumulation to abundance and collective well-being.
That's a huge shift.
It's an incredibly ambitious goal, yeah. And its philosophy draws from timeless principles of dharma, or righteousness and cosmic order, while simultaneously integrating cutting-edge economic and social strategies. It's a profound blend of ancient wisdom and bold, modern solutions, designed to be both idealistic and, they argue, eminently practical.
And the specific tenets sound genuinely revolutionary, challenging the very bedrock of our current economic and social structures. Let's break those down. First, this idea of universal equality, especially regarding labor and wages, that seems to redefine human value entirely.
This is truly a radical reimagining of labor and wealth distribution, directly confronting the current hierarchies of skill and perceived importance. The manifesto proposes that every individual, regardless of occupation, earns the same hourly wage.
Everyone, same wage.
Everyone. And this isn't just for traditional jobs. It critically includes household managers, recognizing that the vital work of maintaining a home and nurturing a family is just as valuable to society as any other profession.
That's a big statement.
It is. And the key is that this wage is measured in time units rather than currency. This mechanism aims to dissolve traditional income hierarchies by valuing the time and effort of every individual equally, regardless of their specific role in society or the market value of their output.
So an hour of a surgeon's time is worth the same as an hour of a farmer's time or a caregiver's time.
Exactly. This isn't merely an economic correction. It's a fundamental resacralization of human time and effort, challenging deeply ingrained notions of status, prestige, and financial worth. It asserts that all human contribution, if it is for the good of the collective, holds equal inherent value.
Then there's gross domestic requirement, or GDR, which sounds like a direct challenge to how we currently measure national and global success. We're so accustomed to GDP, gross domestic product.
It absolutely is. The traditional economic measure of GDP is replaced with GDR, and the focus of GDR is fundamentally different. It aims at meeting the essential needs of the population rather than maximizing consumption and profit.
Use overgrowth.
Precisely. This represents a profound philosophical shift from endless economic expansion to a more qualitative understanding of prosperity. Instead of prioritizing endless growth, which often comes at the expense of human well-being and the environment, GDR stresses sustainability, well-being, and resource efficiency. Asks, are people's fundamental needs being met? Is this being done in a way that respects the planet and its finite resources? It's a metric designed to assess whether a society is truly thriving rather than just growing bigger.
And perhaps the most revolutionary tenet, and the one that sparks the most questions, is the outright elimination of money. How does that even work?
What?
Logistically, psychologically?
This is indeed one of the most striking and transformative proposals. The manifesto discusses the revolutionary idea that money as we know it ceases to exist.
Wow. Okay.
In its place, time units, universal measure of effort, become the new standard of exchange. The fundamental aim here is to eliminate greed and economic disparities by removing the very mechanism that often fuels them.
How does basing it on time do that?
By basing value on the common denominator of human effort, an hour of anyone's time, rather than a fluctuating commodity or abstract currency, they hope to foster a society where accumulation for accumulation's sake is no longer possible or desirable. It fundamentally shifts the incentive structure from acquiring more wealth to contributing more value through one's time and effort.
And finally, universal access to education and healthcare. We often talk about these as important, but the manifesto seems to elevate them to an almost sacred status, like non-negotiable foundations.
They are absolutely reinforced as fundamental human rights, pillars upon which the entire Kalkiist society is built. The manifesto explicitly states that free, high-quality education and healthcare for all are prioritized. They serve as pillars of equity that ensure no one is left behind due to economic circumstance or social status.
So not just a nice to have.
Not at all. This isn't a negotiable policy option. It's a foundational principle that underpins individual dignity, societal progress, and collective well-being within the Kalkiist framework. By guaranteeing these essentials, the manifesto aims to remove significant sources of stress, inequality, and human suffering, allowing individuals to reach their full potential and contribute meaningfully to their communities. This fosters a truly level playing field from birth, addressing systemic disadvantages. What's truly fascinating here is how they weave together these philosophical ideals, drawn from ancient concepts of dharma and equality, with very concrete, radical economic changes like eliminating money and redefining economic success through GDR.
Yeah, it's quite a mix.
It's not just an ambitious synthesis, it's a direct challenge to centuries of economic thought, aiming to replace a system of more is better with better for all. See why Nepal, a chosen land for the pilot.
Here's where it gets really intriguing. We've discussed this grand theory, but it also includes a boots-on-the-ground plan starting in a specific place. Why Nepal? Why was this particular nation chosen as the pilot country for such an ambitious undertaking, rather than, say, a developed Western nation or a larger economy?
Well, Nepal holds a truly special place in the Kalkiist Manifesto's vision, and for several compelling, multifaceted reasons. Firstly, its spiritual and cultural significance is, well, unparalleled.
Birthplace of Buddha, right?
Exactly. It is the birthplace of Gautama Buddha and home to countless sacred sites and ancient spiritual traditions. Our sources explicitly state its reverence as Shambhala in ancient texts, which symbolizes peace, wisdom, and enlightenment, an ideal society in miniature.
So a symbolic resonance.
Definitely. This deep cultural and spiritual heritage provides a strong pre-existing alignment with Kalkiist ideals, which seek to restore Dharma and equity by drawing on ancient principles. The existing cultural depth, with its strong community ties, hospitality, and collective well-being, deeply ingrained in the social fabric, is seen as perfectly harmonious with the Manifesto's goals. This ensures a greater likelihood of acceptance and success from the very start.
Okay, so the values might align better there initially.
That's the idea. It's a place where the foundational values of Kalkiism are arguably already deeply embedded in the societal psyche, offering fertile ground for a new social contract.
So it's not just symbolic, but also a practical, manageable testing ground, a laboratory, if you will, for global transformation.
Absolutely. Beyond the spiritual connection, Nepal's relatively small population and compact geographical size make it an ideal pilot country for such a transformative experiment. Our sources make a direct contrast. Unlike larger nations with their often complex and entrenched systems, massive populations, and bureaucratic inertia.
Which would be incredibly hard to change quickly.
Exactly. Nepal offers a more manageable environment for implementing and refining the Kalkiist economy. This means it's simply easier to test ideas, measure outcomes, and make adjustments before scaling up to a global level.
Makes sense.
Furthermore, Nepal's economy, while modest, is remarkably diverse, encompassing agriculture, tourism, and various small-scale industries. This diversity makes it a kind of microcosm of global economic structures, allowing the Kalkiist model to be tested across various sectors and providing invaluable insights into its adaptability and efficacy.
So if it works there.
The implication is clear. The success achieved here could serve as a blueprint for broader adoption worldwide, a proven model ready for replication.
But Nepal, like many developing nations, isn't without its own significant challenges. Poverty, unemployment, political instability, infrastructure gaps. How is Kalkiism uniquely suited to address those existing issues? How does it make it more than just a theoretical experiment imposed on them?
That's a crucial point, and the Manifesto directly addresses it.
Uh-huh.
Our sources acknowledge Nepal's socioeconomic issues.
Yeah.
However, Kalkiism is presented as uniquely suited to address precisely these challenges, almost as if it were designed with them in mind.
How so?
Its emphasis on universal education and healthcare, for instance, directly combats poverty and disparities by providing fundamental opportunities and necessities to all citizens, breaking cycles of disadvantage. The focus on community buy-in and decentralized, localized decision-making helps to navigate and mitigate the effects of political instability by empowering citizens and fostering trust and collective action from the ground up.
So power to the local level helps stability.
That's the theory. And through targeted investments, guided by the GDR, the framework aims to address infrastructure deficiencies, improving access to essential services, technology, and sustainable resources, directly tackling developmental bottlenecks. It's pitched as a bespoke solution for Nepal's particular circumstances while simultaneously building a robust model for the world.
And that focus on communities seems key to that local implementation. It's not a top-down mandate then, is it?
No, definitely not. The success of the pilot hinges significantly on leveraging Nepal's strong tradition of community-based living. Our sources highlight that village councils, cooperatives, and grassroots organizations are envisioned to play a pivotal role in mobilizing support, fostering local innovation, and implementing the Manifesto's principles at the local level.
Bottom up.
Exactly. This emphasis on a bottom-up approach is intended to ensure that the Kalkiist vision is not perceived as an imposition from distant elites, but rather as a collective journey, a shared aspiration that builds trust and fosters genuine ownership among the populace. This active participation from citizens is considered essential for any lasting transformative change, differentiating it from many other economic models. 3. Pillars of the Kalkiist economy. Mechanisms and impact.
Okay, so we've set the stage, discussed the problem, seen why Nepal is the chosen starting point. Now let's really dive into how this radical economy would function. What does this all mean for how we literally exchange value and measure societal success in this new system? We start with universal education and healthcare, which you said are presented as more than just services. They're cornerstones.
That's absolutely right. In the Kalkiist framework, universal education and healthcare are not merely privileges. They are explicitly defined as fundamental rights. This is a significant philosophical basis, almost a declaration of inherent human dignity.
So non-negotiable.
Non-negotiable. They are seen as inherent rights that ensure individual dignity and societal progress, aligning deeply with the ancient concept of dharma and the imperative to alleviate suffering. The manifesto envisions a kind of virtuous cycle here.
How does that cycle work?
Well, improved education drives health literacy, enabling individuals to make better choices for their well-being. And conversely, improved health enhances educational outcomes, allowing people to learn and contribute more effectively. They are inextricably linked and foundational to a thriving, equitable society because they unlock human potential and reduce systemic barriers to flourishing.
And what are the tangible, far-reaching impacts of this universal access to education beyond just basic literacy? What does that unlock for society?
Oh, the impacts are seen as profound and systemic. Firstly, universal education is viewed as a powerful tool for breaking the cycle of poverty. By providing genuine high-quality opportunities to learn and develop skills, it can bridge socioeconomic divides and foster upward mobility. It creates a level playing field where merit and effort, not inherited circumstance, determine success.
Empowering potential.
Exactly. Secondly, it's vital for empowering marginalized communities. It ensures that historically disadvantaged groups like women, ethnic minorities, rural populations have equal access to learning, which in turn leads to greater representation and inclusion in societal decision-making and leadership roles. Thirdly, it's a key driver of innovation and progress. Educated populations are inherently more likely to innovate, solve complex problems, and drive economic and technological advancements, creating a skilled, adaptable workforce that fuels sustainable development.
And broader than just the economy.
Yes, finally, it actively promotes global citizenship by fostering understanding, empathy, and collaboration across diverse cultures, preparing individuals to navigate a globalized world with mutual respect and a sense of shared humanity.
And universal healthcare, beyond just treating illness, what are its broader societal impacts in this Kalkiist vision? How does that ripple out?
Similarly, the impacts are profound and ripple throughout society. Universal healthcare is crucial for reducing health disparities, eliminating financial and logistical barriers to medical access so that no individual is denied treatment due to financial constraints or geographic isolation. This significantly improves health outcomes for vulnerable populations, ensuring health equity.
Which must impact productivity, too.
Absolutely. Secondly, it enhances productivity. Healthy individuals contribute more effectively to the workforce and community life, which boosts overall economic productivity for the entire society, and significantly reduces the societal burden of preventable illnesses and chronic conditions. Thirdly, it strengthens community resilience. When a population is healthy and well supported, it is better equipped to withstand public health crises, natural disasters, and other shocks, recovering faster and more effectively.
And the financial stress aspect.
Critically, yes, it alleviates financial burdens, reducing the prevalence of catastrophic medical debt, which often cripples families and pushes them into poverty. This allows them to allocate their resources towards other essentials like education or housing, empowering them to build stable lives.
Okay, that's the vision. But how exactly would these be implemented? Are there specific strategies outlined to achieve such comprehensive universal access, especially in a country like Nepal with its existing challenges?
Yes, the source material details several key implementation strategies, recognizing the monumental effort involved. The first involves enacting comprehensive policy frameworks that guarantee free and equitable access to both education and healthcare. This includes robust legislation to ensure sustainable funding, consistent quality standards across all regions, and rigorous accountability mechanisms.
So, government commitment is key.
Absolutely. Secondly, it emphasizes public-private partnerships, strategically leveraging collaborations between governments, NGOs, and private entities where appropriate to expand infrastructure, enhance service delivery, and optimize resource utilization, especially in hard-to-reach areas.
Like getting everyone involved.
Right. A third vital strategy is community engagement, actively involving local communities in the planning, design, and execution of programs to ensure the relevance, build trust, and ensure long-term sustainability and ownership. Fourth, they propose innovative financing models, exploring alternative funding mechanisms beyond traditional tax bases, such as progressive taxation, targeted international aid, and potentially social impact bonds, to secure sustainable and sufficient resources.
Finding the money.
Exactly. And finally, significant capacity building is required, investing in the continuous training and development of highly skilled teachers, dedicated healthcare workers, and effective administrators to ensure high-quality services are consistently delivered.
And what about the challenges to this grand vision? Surely there will be immense obstacles to overcome in establishing such universal systems, especially given Nepal's existing infrastructure and potential resistance.
Indeed, the path to universal education and healthcare is acknowledged as fraught with challenges. These include resource constraints, both financial and human, bureaucratic inefficiencies that can impede progress, and perhaps most significantly, resistance from entrenched interests who benefit from the existing unequal systems or fear the loss of privilege.
How do they plan to overcome that?
The manifesto outlines clear solutions. Overcoming these obstacles requires strong political will, a deep, unwavering commitment to prioritizing education and healthcare in national agendas. It demands transparency and accountability in resource allocation and service delivery to ensure funds are used effectively and corruption is minimized. Crucially, it involves technological integration to improve access, efficiency, and quality of services, especially in remote areas. Think digital platforms for learning, telemedicine, health records. And finally, global collaboration is seen as essential, drawing on international expertise, best practices, and financial support to overcome local limitations and accelerate progress. It's presented as a comprehensive approach to a complex problem. B. The 100 Crore Campaign, fueling the transition.
So we've discussed the systemic changes, but none of this can happen in a vacuum, right? Before we delve deeper into the mechanics of the Kalkiist economy itself, we must address a pivotal initiative designed to fuel this entire transition, to really get the gears turning. Tell us about the 100 Crore campaign.
Precisely. The 100 Crore Campaign is described not just as a financial endeavor, but as a unifying call to action for individuals across the Indian subcontinent and indeed globally. It's envisioned as the initial spark, the collective effort to lay the groundwork for this monumental shift.
Kind of the seed money for a new world.
You could put it that way. It recognizes that radical transformation requires significant upfront investment in both intellectual and practical infrastructure, as well as widespread public buy-in.
So what's the specific purpose of raising 100 crore rupees? That's a significant amount, about 1 billion Indian rupees, or roughly 12 million US dollars. And for a project that aims to eliminate traditional money, it feels almost paradoxical, doesn't it?
It does, but it's framed as a pragmatic recognition of the current reality you have to operate within to change it. The funds are designed to address three critical pillars necessary for the successful implementation of the Kalkiist Manifesto in its transitional phase.
Okay, what are those pillars?
First, research and development. Transitioning to a fully functional Kalkiist economy requires intensive, in-depth research to create a detailed roadmap, comprehensive policy frameworks, robust operational models. These funds will specifically support those 50 top economists, 50 renowned medical professionals, and other experts in analyzing existing systems, designing equitable policies, and creating scalable models for everything from resource allocation to time unit transactions.
So, figuring out the how.
Exactly.
Here.
Second, public awareness and mobilization. A transformative vision like Kalkiism demands widespread public understanding and engagement to overcome skepticism and foster genuine participation. The campaign will fund extensive educational initiatives, broad media outreach, and grassroots movements to inform and inspire citizens about the profound benefits of the Kalkiist model and its potential to solve pervasive problems like inequality and environmental degradation.
Getting people on board.
Right. And third, pilot programs in Nepal. As the chosen pilot country, Nepal requires substantial resources to test, refine, and iterate the Kalkiist economy in a real-world setting. These programs are absolutely essential, as they will serve as the proof of concept, demonstrating the model's feasibility, practicality, and tangible positive impact. This success in Nepal can then inspire broader adoption globally, showing that the theory works in practice.
Makes sense. So how do they plan to raise this money? Are there specific, innovative fundraising strategies beyond just traditional appeals?
Yes, the campaign aims for innovative and inclusive strategies that resonate with the Kalkiist spirit of collective action. This includes leveraging crowdfunding platforms to reach individuals globally, allowing even small contributions to collectively make a substantial impact, fostering a sense of shared ownership. They also seek corporate partnerships with socially responsible businesses and foundations aligned with Kalkiist values, recognizing that even within existing systems, there are entities that desire positive change.
Interesting.
Philanthropic engagement is another crucial avenue, reaching out to charitable organizations and individuals committed to large-scale societal transformation and humanitarian goals. To engage the wider public and spread the message, they plan cultural and social events such as concerts, art exhibitions, community festivals, which serve the dual purpose of raising funds and spreading awareness about Kalkiist principles in an accessible, engaging way. And finally, educational campaigns engaging schools, universities, and academic institutions are intended to foster dialogue, inspire contributions from younger generations, and build a lasting intellectual foundation for the movement.
It sounds like community and collaboration are absolutely central to this campaign's success. It's not just a financial goal, but a social movement building exercise.
They are, inherently. The 100 Crore campaign is as much about building a broad-based, unified community around a shared vision as it is about raising funds. It seeks to unite individuals from diverse backgrounds, economic, social, cultural, under this common goal of equity and harmony.
How do they see different groups contributing?
The strategy outlines specific, synergistic roles for various stakeholders. Local leaders are tasked with mobilizing grassroots support, facilitating community dialogues, and ensuring community ownership of the vision. Media outlets are crucial for amplifying the campaign's message, reaching wider audiences, and shaping public discourse. Youth activists are seen as essential for channeling the energy, idealism, and creativity of younger generations toward meaningful contributions and advocacy. And international allies, including diaspora communities and global organizations, are key for securing global support from organizations and individuals beyond the subcontinent, recognizing the universal appeal of the Kalkiist vision.
What are the biggest challenges they anticipate with such a massive fundraising and mobilization effort, especially given the radical nature of the ideas, and how do they plan to mitigate them? This sounds tough.
Several significant challenges are acknowledged, and the manifesto outlines proactive mitigation strategies for each. One is pervasive skepticism and resistance from those unfamiliar with the Kalkiist vision, those who benefit from the status quo, or those hesitant about its feasibility and scope.
How do you fight skepticism?
The proposed solution is constant, transparent communication, regularly showcasing pilot programs with tangible results, and sharing compelling success stories to build trust and demonstrate practical viability. Another is logistical hurdles in coordinating efforts across diverse regions, cultures, languages, and ensuring effective and ethical use of funds. This will be addressed by establishing robust governance structures and accountability mechanisms, leveraging technology for transparent tracking, and empowering decentralized decision-making.
And keeping the momentum going.
Exactly. Finally, there's the challenge of resource constraints and avoiding donor fatigue over time, especially for a long-term transformative project. The mitigation strategy here is through regular updates, celebrating milestones, and demonstrating tangible, measurable progress to maintain enthusiasm and continued support, showing donors their contributions are making a real difference. This campaign isn't just about collecting money. It's really about mobilizing belief, forging collective action, and bridging the visionary blueprint with the very practical, immediate steps needed for a true societal transformation. It's seen as the essential engine that kickstarts the paradigm shift. C, the radical economic vision, time, needs, and beyond.
Okay, now let's get into the nitty-gritty of the Kalkiist economy itself, moving past the funding of the transition phase. You mentioned equal hourly wages for all. That's a truly revolutionary concept that challenges our entire framework of value. How does that translate into economic reality? How does it actually work?
It is indeed revolutionary, and it's a cornerstone of the Kalkiist vision for true equity. The Kalkiist Manifesto proposes that all work, whether in an office, a farm, a research lab, or a home, is compensated equally in time units.
Equal pay for equal time, literally.
Literally. This fundamentally emphasizes the elimination of income disparity and ensures that all contributions are respected and recognized as equally vital to the functioning of society. It means a doctor, a farmer, a teacher, a scientist, and a household manager would all earn the same time unit for an hour of their dedicated work. This principle aims to eradicate the hierarchical valuing of labor that currently leads to vast economic disparities in traditional systems. It asserts the inherent worth of everyone's effort regardless of perceived market demand or social status.
It's about valuing human contribution equally, not just output or profit.
Precisely, that's the core idea.
And the currency itself shifts from money to time units. This is probably the most radical and maybe abstract concept for many listeners. How would that actually work in practice? How do you transact with time? It sounds complex.
Well, this is a core mechanism designed to fundamentally alter our relationship with work and consumption. Time units are defined as the standard measure of value in exchange, completely replacing traditional currency. Now, the logistics of transitioning from money to time units would involve a systemic overhaul, primarily facilitated by advanced technology.
Okay, so tech is key here.
Absolutely essential. For instance, you could imagine secure, decentralized digital wallets where your earned time units are stored, much like a digital bank account. But instead of dollars or rupees, it reflects your accumulated hours of contribution.
Like a time bank account.
Kinda, yeah. When you acquire goods or services, you would allocate time units based on the collective effort, or human time, that went into their production and delivery. So if shirt took, say, X amount of collective human time to design, grow the cotton, weave, sew, transport, you would pay X time units for it.
Could you give us a simple, relatable scenario? How would a time unit transaction feel compared to a monetary one in everyday life, like buying groceries or something?
Certainly. Imagine you need a new pair of shoes. In a traditional monetary system, you might pay, say, $50 for them. That $50 represents your income from a job that pays a certain hourly rate. But the $50 itself is an abstract concept, often disconnected from the actual labor involved in making those shoes.
Right.
In a Kalkiist system, instead of dollars, you earn time units for your work, let's say 1 time unit per hour, just for simplicity.
Yeah.
So if you worked an 8-hour day, you would have 8 time units in your digital wallet.
Okay.
If you go to get those shoes, the price isn't $50, it's perhaps 3 time units. This means that the total human effort, the collective hours of work that went into designing, manufacturing, transporting, and making those shoes available, amounts to 3 hours of human time.
Ah, I see. The price reflects the actual human effort.
Exactly. So if you worked for 8 hours that day, you have enough to get those shoes and still have 5 time units left for other needs. Groceries, maybe paying for a service, whatever. The value exchange becomes incredibly transparently about human effort and contribution.
What are the benefits of that transparency?
Well, the argument is that this currency, being based on human contribution, aims to eliminate greed and economic disparities by removing the abstract, often speculative, and manipulable nature of financial currency. It directly links consumption back to the labor that creates value, fostering a deep appreciation for human effort and potentially discouraging unnecessary accumulation or wasteful consumption.
This truly redefines everything, including how we measure national success and progress. The manifesto proposes moving from GDP to GDR, gross domestic requirement. What exactly is wrong with GDP? I mean, virtually every nation relies on it globally right now.
The Kalkiist Manifesto presents a very strong and compelling critique of GDP as an insufficient and even misleading measure of societal success, and for several crucial reasons. Firstly, GDP has a focus on quantity, not quality. It measures raw economic output without truly considering whether that output genuinely improves the quality of life or societal well-being.
So growth isn't always good growth.
Not at all.
Yeah.
In fact, activities that are detrimental, such as those that harm the environment, generate pollution, or exploit labor, still contribute positively to GDP, which creates this perverse incentive structure where destruction can actually be counted as growth.
That's perverse.
Isn't it? Secondly, inequality is ignored. GDP growth often masks deep-seated inequalities. While the overall economy might expand, the benefits are frequently concentrated among only the wealthiest segments of society, leaving vast populations behind and exacerbating social divides. Thirdly, environmental costs are not only ignored but often included as positive contributions.
How so?
Economic activities that degrade ecosystems, deplete natural resources, or contribute to climate change are factored into GDP calculations, despite their severe long-term negative impacts on the planet and future generations. Cleaning up an oil spill actually boosts GDP.
Wow.
Fourthly, there's a neglect of non-monetary contributions. GDP completely overlooks invaluable unpaid labor, such as caregiving, household management, volunteer work, community building, all of which are absolutely essential to societal functioning and well-being, yet are given zero economic value in GDP terms.
Right, the stuff that really holds society together.
Exactly. And finally, GDP offers no indicator of happiness or well-being. It fundamentally fails to capture the intangible yet crucial aspects of human life, such as mental health, social cohesion, community engagement, or overall happiness. It's a measure that prioritizes raw material accumulation and financial transactions over actual human flourishing and ecological health. Its critical failure isn't just its omissions, but its active incentivization of the very problems it claims to measure, often equating ecological destruction and social disparity with progress.
So if GDP is so flawed, what's the philosophy behind GDR, gross domestic requirement, and what does it measure instead? How does it fix those problems?
GDR represents a fundamental and, the manifesto argues, necessary shift in societal priorities, moving from economic expansion to human and ecological well-being. Its core tenets are clear: designed to guide a truly thriving society. First, meeting essential needs.
The basic.
The absolute basics.
Yeah.
GDR focuses unequivocally on ensuring that all individuals have universal, equitable access to necessities like nutritious food, clean water, safe shelter, comprehensive education, and high-quality healthcare. Second, equity. Unlike GDP, which often exacerbates disparities, GDR explicitly prioritizes the equitable distribution of resources to reduce systemic inequalities and ensure fair access for everyone. Third, sustainability. GDR aligns all economic activities with ecological preservation, promoting practices that actively regenerate and maintain environmental balance and resource regeneration rather than depletion.
So living within our means, planet-wise.
Exactly. Fourth, community-centered metrics. It deeply values and measures contributions that strengthen social cohesion, foster local resilience, and promote civic engagement. Things like volunteer work, cooperative efforts, the vibrancy of community bonds, all of which GDP entirely overlooks. And fifth, quality of life. GDR incorporates broader, holistic indicators of happiness, mental health, cultural richness, and overall well-being, recognizing that true progress goes far beyond mere material wealth. It's about creating a society where everyone thrives, not just a few accumulate vast riches.
How would a country even begin to implement GDR? It sounds like a massive undertaking to collect data on needs and well-being rather than just financial transactions and output.
It absolutely is a massive undertaking, requiring systemic changes across economic, social, and political spheres. The strategies outlined include, first, redefining metrics themselves. This means developing sophisticated, comprehensive frameworks and indicators to measure essential needs, fulfillment, resource distribution, environmental health, and well-being in a holistic way, going far beyond simple monetary values.
New ways of measuring.
Totally new ways. Second, policy integration is critical, aligning national policies, legislative frameworks, and budgetary allocations with GDR principles to ensure that every government program prioritizes equity, sustainability, and collective well-being above all else. Third, local empowerment is key, decentralizing decision-making and resource allocation to enable communities to effectively determine and address their own unique needs and foster local solutions.
Bringing it down to the ground level.
Yes. Fourth, there's a call for global collaboration, establishing international standards for GDR and shared best practices to effectively address transnational challenges like climate change and resource distribution, fostering a global ecosystem of well-being. And finally, robust educational campaigns are vital, raising widespread awareness about the importance and benefits of GDR through media, school curriculums, public discourse to foster broad societal acceptance and cultural shifts towards these new values.
What are the main challenges in this monumental shift from GDP to GDR? It feels like there would be huge resistance and just practical difficulties.
The shift to GDR is certainly not without significant challenges, given how deeply entrenched GDP thinking is globally. One major hurdle is resistance from established interests. Industries and individuals who currently benefit significantly from GDP-focused systems, particularly those driven by endless consumption and exploitation, may naturally resist such a radical change.
How do you counter that?
The proposed solution is to proactively highlight the long-term universal benefits of GDR, such as reduced inequality, enhanced environmental sustainability, and improved overall quality of life for everyone, which can garner broader support by appealing to a more universal good than mere profit. Another challenge is data collection and analysis, as accurately measuring well-being, equitable resource distribution, and non-monetary contributions requires entirely new methodologies and sophisticated systems.
Getting the right data.
Exactly. The solution here is leveraging advanced technology and interdisciplinary research to develop accurate, reliable, and transparent GDR metrics and data collection mechanisms. Cultural adaptation is also a significant barrier, as societies accustomed to GDP as the primary indicator of progress may struggle to adopt and internalize new paradigms. This can be addressed by integrating GDR principles into education and public policy from an early age, fostering cultural shifts over generations. And finally, global coordination in aligning GDR implementation across diverse nations and economies is incredibly complex. The solution proposed is building coalitions of like-minded nations to pilot and refine GDR frameworks, starting small, demonstrating success, and gradually expanding the network of adherents.
Here's where it gets really interesting. A complete reevaluation of what success even means, moving beyond mere accumulation to a holistic understanding of societal well-being. What's the ultimate impact of GDR on society if successfully implemented? What does that world look like?
If we connect this to the bigger picture, the shift from GDP to GDR suggests a profound reordering of societal priorities. away from pure accumulation and towards holistic human and ecological well-being. The adoption of GDR as the primary measure of success would have truly transformative implications. You'd expect to see reduced inequality by focusing on equitable resource distribution and universal access to necessities, leading to a more inclusive and just society.
A fairer world.
Yes, there would be genuine sustainable development, as all economic activities align with environmental preservation and regeneration, ensuring long-term ecological health for the planet. We experience enhanced quality of life, because recognizing and prioritizing well-being directly leads to happier, healthier populations with less stress and greater purpose. Communities would become empowered through decentralized local decision-making and a recognition of non-monetary contributions, strengthening social bonds and fostering resilience. And finally, nations adopting GDR could provide global leadership, leading the way in creating a more just, harmonious, and sustainable world for all. It's presented as a complete paradigm shift towards a more compassionate, balanced, and ultimately more fulfilling way of living together. Now for Fee. The journey ahead. Implementation, scaling, and legacy. A. The transition. Challenges and solutions.
So we've laid out this radical vision for the Kalkiist economy, but the transition from our current money-based, GDP-driven system to one based on time units and GDR sounds incredibly ambitious, maybe even daunting. What are the major challenges they anticipate in implementing this on a wider scale beyond just the Nepal pilot project?
The source material acknowledges, with remarkable frankness actually, that implementing the Kalkiist economy beyond the pilot project presents significant challenges that cannot be underestimated. The primary obstacles identified are deeply rooted in our current systems.
Like what? What are the big ones?
Firstly, potential resistance from entrenched power structures. Those individuals, corporations, and political entities who currently benefit enormously from the existing economic models. They may naturally oppose such a profound shift that directly threatens their accumulated wealth, influence, and way of operating.
People don't like giving up power or wealth.
Generally not, no. Secondly, there's inherent skepticism about radical change from the general populace. People are accustomed to existing systems, even flawed ones, and may find it difficult to envision, trust, and adapt to a world without traditional money or GDP, fearing the unknown or potential instability during transition. And of course, immense logistical hurdles are involved in completely restructuring an economy.
Just the practicalities.
Exactly. From how time units are tracked and exchanged globally, to how resources are allocated based on needs rather than profit, to retraining an entire workforce for a new paradigm of value, it's a huge logistical puzzle.
So how do they propose to tackle these monumental challenges? Resistance, skepticism, and logistics, to move from theory in Nepal to a working global system. What's the plan?
The Manifesto reiterates and expands upon the strategies we've touched upon earlier, emphasizing their multi-pronged and persistent application. Firstly, intensive and continuous public awareness campaigns are crucial. These are designed to educate and engage the population at every level, building widespread understanding and popular support for the profound benefits of the new system, framing it as a solution to current global crises, not just an abstract ideal.
Winning hearts and minds.
Essentially, yes. Secondly, the development of detailed, adaptable policy frameworks is absolutely essential to guide every aspect of the transition, from the legal recognition of time units to the precise mechanisms of resource allocation and community governance. These frameworks must be flexible enough to integrate diverse cultural contexts.
Not one size fits all.
Definitely not. Thirdly, fostering global collaboration is key. Actively seeking support from international communities, governments, NGOs, and individual philanthropists to provide necessary resources, expertise, and political will. And finally, the critical importance of successfully expanding pilot programs beyond Nepal is emphasized. These small-scale, real-world implementations, conducted in diverse socioeconomic contexts, are designed to demonstrate the feasibility, practicality, and tangible benefits of the Kalkiist model.
Proving it works elsewhere.
Right, thereby building trust, generating momentum, and refining the model for broader adoption. It's about proving the concept works in various environments before attempting full-scale deployment. B. A day in the Kalkiist future. Speculative walkthrough.
So after all this discussion of theory and transition, what does this all mean for you, the listener? Let's try to imagine it. Imagine waking up in a Kalkiist future. What would your day-to-day life actually look like in this profoundly transformed society without the constant pressures of traditional money or the pursuit of GDP? How would it feel?
Let's paint a vivid picture of life in a Kalkiist society, as our sources invite us to imagine a world reshaped by these principles. You would wake up knowing that your fundamental needs, nutritious food, clean water, safe and comfortable shelter, high-quality healthcare, and comprehensive education are universally guaranteed from birth to old age.
That baseline security, that would change everything.
Absolutely. Your access to these essentials would not be dependent on your income, your job title, or your social status. They are framed as inherent human rights.
So the deep-seated stress of making ends meet, or the constant, often exhausting competition for higher pay and more resources, that would significantly diminish, wouldn't it?
Exactly. Your work itself would be transformed from a necessity driven largely by financial survival to a meaningful contribution valued for its inherent worth to the community. Instead of chasing a higher salary, your efforts would be compensated equally in time units.
Right, the equal time, equal value principle.
Yes. Whether you're a skilled surgeon, an innovative artist, a sustainable farmer, a dedicated teacher, or a meticulous household manager, each hour you contribute holds the same societal value. This shift would fundamentally alter your relationship with your profession, allowing you to pursue your passions and contribute to society in ways that align with your deepest purpose, rather than simply what pays the most in a monetary system.
What about everyday transactions and navigating daily life without traditional money? How does the time unit currency feel in practice? Does it become intuitive?
Instead of a wallet full of cash or a pocket filled with credit cards, you might have a secure digital account or a device showing your balance of earned time units. When you acquire something, perhaps a fresh loaf of organic bread from the community bakery, a new piece of clothing crafted from sustainable materials, or a ticket to a cultural event, you're simply transferring a few time units.
A direct exchange of effort.
Precisely. The value isn't arbitrary. It transparently represents the collective human effort, the time that went into producing that item or service. A complex item might require more time units because more collective effort went into its creation, from raw material extraction to final delivery. The frantic pace, often driven by material accumulation and consumption, would likely be replaced by a more mindful focus on sustainable practices and collective well-being guided by the Gross Domestic Requirement, or GDR, which ensures essential needs are met for all in an ecologically responsible way.
So maybe less impulse buying, more thoughtful consumption tied directly to appreciating the human labor involved.
That's certainly the aspiration. Less focus on acquiring stuff and more on ensuring everyone's needs are met sustainably.
So the harmony and balance achieved under this new system would truly redefine your relationship with work, community, and even your own sense of self-worth, it seems.
It would be a profound shift. The intense pressures and anxieties of a money-driven competitive economy would be significantly reduced, if not entirely eliminated. Relationships might become less transactional and more focused on intrinsic worth, genuine connection, and mutual support, as the commodification of interactions would diminish.
Community becomes central again.
Yes, communities would be empowered through decentralized governance, meaning local decisions directly affect local needs, fostering a stronger sense of belonging, shared purpose, and collective responsibility. Your daily life, your interactions, your very sense of purpose might shift from individualistic gain to collective harmony and a balanced existence where your effort is valued, your needs are met, your community thrives, and the planet is respected.
It sounds like a world where the most pervasive symptoms of Kali Yuga, greed, stark inequality, environmental degradation, societal discord, are systematically dismantled.
And replaced, ideally, by cooperation, genuine well-being, and a renewed sense of shared humanity. Imagine the mental and emotional space that opens up when the constant financial struggle is removed. What could people create? What could they focus on? See scaling Kalkiism globally, a vision for collective harmony.
This vision, starting with its pilot in Nepal, clearly has global aspirations. But why is Kalkiism necessary globally? Why can't we just solve our problems country by country? Is it truly presented as a universal solution?
Well, the source material argues compellingly that the world today faces interconnected crises that transcend national borders, making a truly global solution like Kalkiism not just ambitious, but perhaps absolutely essential. These crises cannot be effectively solved by individual nations acting in isolation.
What crisis specifically are they pointing to?
They include growing inequality, which, as we discussed, is staggering. The richest 1% owning more than half of global wealth, that's a stark figure that fuels global instability and resentment. This isn't a national problem. It's presented as a global systemic failure. Then there's environmental collapse, driven by unsustainable practices like deforestation, pollution, carbon emissions, threatening the entire planet's future, irrespective of political borders.
Climate change doesn't respect borders.
Exactly. We also see increasingly fractured societies marked by political polarization, cultural divisions, and economic exploitation, undermining social cohesion everywhere, leading to mass migrations and conflicts. And as we've recently experienced with the COVID-19 pandemic, global health crises exposed the profound fragility of national health systems and the urgent need for equitable access to healthcare worldwide.
So Kalkiism is pitched as the answer to these interconnected global problems.
Yes, it addresses these crises holistically, offering an alternative paradigm rooted in universal equity, sustainable resource management, and collective governance, making it profoundly relevant, they argue, for every nation and every human being. Its principles are designed to address the root causes of these shared challenges.
So if it's truly a global necessity, how do they propose scaling this from a single pilot country like Nepal to the entire planet? What are the key strategies to achieve such a monumental transformation? That seems like the biggest hurdle.
Scaling Kalkiism globally requires a multifaceted and highly adaptive approach that carefully balances universal principles with the vast diversity of human cultures and contexts. One crucial strategy is cultural adaptation, meaning while Kalkiism is grounded in universal values like equity and sustainability, its implementation must respect and adapt to diverse cultural contexts. This involves engaging local leaders to co-create solutions, recognizing regional traditions, and ensuring principles align with local aspirations. It's explicitly not a one-size-fits-all imposition, but a framework that can be locally interpreted and owned.
So flexible implementation.
Very much so. Secondly, global alliances are absolutely essential. Building robust partnerships with international organizations, national governments, and civil society groups can mobilize resources, facilitate knowledge sharing of best practices, and advocate for global policies aligned with Kalkiist principles on an international stage. Thirdly, technology integration is seen as a crucial accelerator.
We talked about blockchain, AI.
Right. Digital platforms for education and advocacy, blockchain systems to manage time unit transactions with transparency, and AI-driven models to optimize resource allocation and sustainability metrics can all help scale the model efficiently across vast distances and diverse populations. Fourth, robust and continuous educational campaigns are needed to foster widespread understanding and build a truly global movement, integrating Kalkiist principles into school curriculums, hosting international conferences, leveraging all forms of media to disseminate the message. And finally, after the pilot in Nepal, establishing pilot programs in diverse contexts is crucial.
More testing grounds.
Yes, to provide critical insights into scalability and adaptability across varied socioeconomic conditions, proving its versatility beyond a single nation or culture.
Even with those strategies, scaling globally sounds like it would face immense, perhaps even insurmountable resistance from those who benefit from the current system and just sheer inertia. What are the anticipated challenges in this global implementation?
Indeed, significant challenges are recognized and directly addressed. The most prominent is resistance from established systems. Existing economic and political structures, often deeply entrenched and benefiting powerful elites, may resist a paradigm shift that directly threatens their interests and control.
The powers that be.
Exactly. The proposed solution is to continuously highlight the long-term universal benefits of Kalkiism, such as vastly reduced inequality, enhanced environmental sustainability, and increased social cohesion to build broader support by appealing to a more universal good that ultimately benefits everyone, including eventually those currently at the top. Another challenge is logistical complexity. Implementing a time-based economy and decentralized governance on a global scale requires monumental coordination across diverse legal, technological, and cultural landscapes.
So how do you manage that complexity?
This is addressed through phased, iterative implementation and strategically leveraging technology to streamline processes and enhance transparency. Cultural and ideological barriers also pose a significant challenge, as deeply ingrained societal norms, religious beliefs, and political ideologies in some regions may conflict with Kalkiist principles. The solution here is actively promoting dialogue, understanding, and collaboration to find common ground and build consensus, recognizing and valuing cultural uniqueness while pursuing universal principles. Lastly, resource constraints for securing the vast financial and human resources needed for global expansion are significant.
Where does the money come from for a moneyless transition?
Well, initially through things like the 100 crore campaign, but longer term it's countered by mobilizing international funding and vast volunteer networks to support initiatives, transforming human time and effort itself into a global resource for change. This raises an important question, though. How do you even begin to coordinate such a monumental shift across cultures and continents, navigating these diverse challenges simultaneously? It's a testament to the audacious ambition and meticulous planning embedded within the Kalkiist vision, recognizing that fundamental change requires a global, concerted effort. D. The role of technology in scaling Kalkiism.
This is where it gets really interesting for many of us because tech isn't just presented as a tool. The manifesto frames it as a foundational, indispensable element for making this grand vision practical and scalable on a global level. How exactly does technology act as a catalyst for Kalkiism's global reach, and what are its specific applications laid out in the source?
Technology is described as the critical bridge between the visionary Kalkiist principles and their practical implementation. It allows the system to overcome traditional barriers of distance, bureaucracy, and complexity that would have made something like this impossible in the past. For example, one of Kalkiism's core principles is decentralized governance, where local communities play a central role in decision-making and resource allocation.
Right, bottom-up power.
Exactly. And blockchain technology offers an unprecedented level of transparency and creates a tamper-proof system for this. It enables community decision-making through things like smart contracts for transparent voting and direct resource allocation. This fosters unwavering trust and accountability through immutable ledgers and ensures scalability across local, national, and global levels without central points of control or corruption. It provides a robust, trustless system for collective governance.
And what about the time-based currency? That sounds like it absolutely needs tech to work. How does technology simplify that revolutionary concept and make it functional on a global scale?
For time-based currency systems, technology is absolutely indispensable. It will facilitate digital wallets for securely storing, managing, and exchanging time units, much like modern mobile banking apps, but with value tied directly to human effort, not fiat currency.
Your time balance on your phone.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Automated transactions via smart contracts would ensure seamless and instantaneous exchanges based on agreed-upon time valuations, removing the need for intermediaries, reducing friction, and preventing manipulation. Furthermore, global accessibility would be ensured through mobile apps and online platforms, making time-based economies accessible to everyone, everywhere, regardless of their location, literacy levels, or access to traditional banking infrastructure. This essentially digitizes and democratizes the human effort-based currency, ensuring its widespread adoption and utility. Imagine using your phone to pay for a meal not with dollars or euros, but with a few minutes of your recorded contribution time, seamlessly and securely.
And how would technology help manage resources under the gross domestic requirement, shifting focus from profits to genuinely meeting needs efficiently?
Data-driven resource allocation is key to the efficient functioning of GDR. Advanced data analytics and artificial intelligence can optimize resource distribution with incredible precision. This means using predictive analytics to anticipate real-time demand for essential resources like food, water, housing, and healthcare, ensuring supply meets actual needs rather than being dictated by market forces or speculative pricing.
So AI predicting what communities need.
Exactly, and ensuring efficient supply chains powered by AI-driven logistics would minimize waste, reduce environmental impact, and ensure timely, equitable delivery of goods where they are most needed, prioritizing necessity over luxury. And equitable distribution would be guided by transparent algorithms designed to allocate resources based on community needs, demographic data, and established priorities, not purchasing power, ensuring everyone gets what they need to thrive.
Beyond efficiency and equity, Kalkiism also emphasizes profound environmental sustainability. How does technology contribute to that critical goal in this model?
Technology is directly leveraged for profound environmental preservation and regeneration in the Kalkiist model. For renewable energy integration, smart grids powered by AI can optimize energy distribution from various sources, reduce waste, and balance supply and demand dynamically. Technology would also accelerate the expansion of solar and wind power, along with advanced energy storage solutions like high-capacity batteries for consistent supply, making entire regions self-sufficient in clean energy.
What about waste and consumption?
In circular economy practices, IoT sensors can track product life cycles from creation to disposal, enabling efficient recycling and reuse. Advanced 3D printing can reduce material waste by creating products on demand locally, minimizing overproduction and transport, and AI-driven systems can effectively sort and recycle waste streams, moving towards a truly waste-free economy. For climate monitoring and adaptation, satellite imaging provides real-time data on environmental changes like deforestation or ice melt, AI models predict climate patterns and natural disaster risks with greater accuracy. And community dashboards can offer real-time updates to empower local populations with actionable insights for resilience and adaptation.
But if technology is so central, there's always the risk of exacerbating the digital divide or raising huge privacy and security concerns, or even the environmental cost of the tech itself. How does the manifesto address these potential pitfalls?
These are critical ethical and practical considerations, and the manifesto directly addresses them. It stresses that technology must be inclusive by design to ensure its benefits reach even the most vulnerable and marginalized populations.
How do you ensure inclusivity?
It requires proactive initiatives like robust digital literacy programs to empower individuals with the skills needed to participate fully in the time-based economy and decentralized governance. Affordable access must be universally guaranteed through subsidized devices, community tech hubs, and low-cost, pervasive connectivity. And tech hubs and innovation centers can be established locally to foster skill development, entrepreneurship, and local innovation, ensuring communities can adapt and contribute their unique technological solutions.
Then the privacy security issue.
On the challenge side, data privacy and security are paramount. The manifesto calls for robust safeguards like end-to-end encryption and clear democratic regulation for all data collection and management within decentralized governance systems, ensuring individual autonomy and preventing surveillance states. The digital divide itself needs continuous, targeted initiatives to bridge disparities in access and literacy, preventing new forms of inequality. And finally, the sustainability of technology itself, the environmental impact of device production, energy consumption, and electronic waste disposal must be managed through green manufacturing practices, extended device lifespans, and comprehensive recycling programs. It's framed as responsible innovation for the collective good, not just innovation for its own sake. E. The role of leadership in the global expansion of Kalkiism. And if we connect this to the bigger picture, it suggests that without a very specific kind of deliberate multi-level leadership, even the most profound ideas, even with great technology, can falter and remain mere theory. The Kalkiist Manifesto's global adoption relies heavily on a new paradigm of visionary leadership, one that extends far beyond traditional hierarchies.
Meaning not just presidents and CEOs.
Exactly. It's about collective responsibility, ethical governance, and strategic long-term decision-making at every level, from the local village council right up to international bodies.
So what kind of leadership are we talking about here? What qualities are essential for leaders who would guide this transition and maintain a Kalkiist society? It sounds different from what we often see.
The sources highlight 4 key types of leadership, essential for Kalkiism's expansion and sustained success. First, visionary leadership is needed. People who can articulate the principles of Kalkiism, paint a compelling picture of the desired future, and inspire collective action across diverse cultures and belief systems. Second, collaborative leadership is crucial because decentralized governance, a core tenet of Kalkiism, demands inclusivity, consensus building, horizontal cooperation over authoritarian control. Leaders must facilitate dialogue and empower others, not just dictate.
Less top-down.
Much less. Third, ethical leadership is presented as absolutely non-negotiable. It requires unwavering transparency, accountability, and a deep, unshakable commitment to equity, justice, and the well-being of all, resisting temptations of personal gain or corruption. And fourth, adaptive leadership is vital. Leaders must navigate complex and unpredictable cultural, political, and logistical landscapes, remaining flexible and adjusting strategies to ensure successful implementation in varied contexts, learning from challenges and opportunities as they arise.
And where does this leadership manifest? Is it a centralized body or is it distributed? Is it top-down, bottom-up, or both?
It's definitively multi-level and distributed, reflecting the decentralized nature of Kalkiism itself. At the community level, local leaders are pivotal. These are grassroots organizers, elders, community champions, people who mobilize local support, facilitate dialogue to address specific concerns, and drive local innovations that resonate with community needs and values. They are the people building trust and ownership on the ground.
The real boots-on-the-ground leaders.
Exactly. At the national level, leaders play a critical role in integrating Kalkiist principles into overarching governance frameworks. This means enacting policies that institutionalize time-based economies, formalizing decentralized governance structures, ensuring equitable resource allocation aligned with GDR, and advocating for Kalkiism on international platforms. Finally, at the global level, visionary leaders and international institutions are vital. They build alliances with international organizations, governments, NGOs, promote Kalkiist principles as universal solutions to global challenges, and foster extensive collaboration and knowledge exchange across regions, coordinating large-scale initiatives.
But surely there will be significant challenges to finding and empowering such leaders, especially when facing entrenched systems that benefit from the old ways. It seems like a constant uphill battle against the status quo.
Absolutely. The path to effective Kalkiist leadership is not without formidable obstacles. One major challenge is cultural and ideological resistance. Diverse cultural norms, political ideologies, and existing power dynamics may naturally resist the universal adoption of Kalkiist principles, viewing them as foreign or threatening to local identity.
How do leaders navigate that?
The solution, as outlined, is for leaders to prioritize genuine dialogue and cultural sensitivity, framing Kalkiism as an adaptable framework that can integrate local contexts while upholding its core universal values. Another is entrenched power structures, where existing economic and political elites might perceive Kalkiism as a direct threat to their vested interests. Here, ethical leaders can counter resistance by meticulously highlighting the long-term benefits of equity, sustainability, and collective well-being for all stakeholders, demonstrating a path beyond zero-sum thinking and showing that a different kind of prosperity is possible for everyone. And then there are resource constraints, where limited financial and human resources can impede global implementation and leadership development.
Right, leadership takes resources too.
It does. Leaders must mobilize international funding, build vast volunteer networks, and strategically leverage technology to maximize impact and overcome these limitations through shared effort.
What specific strategies are key for developing and supporting this new kind of effective Kalkist leadership globally? How do you grow these leaders?
The sources outline several interconnected strategies. Education and training are paramount. This involves establishing robust programs, workshops, and seminars to train leaders at all levels in the principles of decentralized governance, the practicalities of time-based economies, and ethical decision-making rooted in Dharma. Youth engagement is also crucial for cultivating leadership skills among younger generations, ensuring a continuous pipeline of committed leaders for the future.
Investing in the next generation.
Precisely. Second, leveraging technology can significantly amplify leadership efforts through digital platforms for global collaboration, data-driven decision-making for resource allocation, and blockchain systems for enhanced transparency and accountability in governance. And third, building networks and alliances is vital. Leadership thrives in collaboration, fostering strong intercommunity and international collective action, promoting advocacy on global platforms, and enabling efficient resource sharing and expertise pooling across diverse regions to solve shared problems. If we connect this to the bigger picture, it suggests that without this kind of deliberate multi-level leadership that is both visionary and deeply collaborative, even the most profound ideas can falter and remain unrealized. Effective Kalkiist leadership, with its focus on collaboration, ethics, and adaptability, is presented as the catalyst that can truly drive profound societal changes, leading to a unified global vision, empowered communities, sustainable development, and resilient societies capable of facing future crises together in harmony. F. The legacy of Kalkism, a blueprint for future generations.
Okay, let's unpack this final major piece. It's clearly not just about solving today's problems like inequality or climate change. The manifesto seems to be crafting a new paradigm entirely, a fundamental shift in consciousness designed perhaps for millennia to come. How does the Kalkiist Manifesto envision its own legacy for future generations? What's the long game?
At its core, Kalkiism is presented as more than just a system. It's framed as a timeless philosophy. Its core values, equity, sustainability, and collective well-being are designed to transcend the ephemeral nature of political systems and cultural trends. This makes it inherently adaptable, they argue, to evolving societal needs, technological advancements, and unforeseen challenges of the future.
So, built to last, not just react.
Exactly. It's not just a momentary fix for current crises. It's intended as a fundamental, deep-seated shift in values for humanity's long-term evolution. Equity ensures all individuals have access to resources and opportunities. Sustainability aligns human progress with ecological limits, ensuring the planet's health for the long haul. And collective well-being prioritizes shared prosperity and genuine human flourishing over individual accumulation or nationalistic competition. This universality and inherent adaptability are seen as key to its lasting impact through the ages.
And how would it shape global consciousness beyond just economic systems? How does it aim to change how we collectively think and relate to each other and the planet on a deeper level?
Kalkiism aims to redefine humanity's relationship with itself and the planet, fostering a global consciousness rooted in interconnectedness and mutual responsibility. It actively encourages ethical living, inspiring individuals and communities to make decisions that benefit the collective good, not just narrow self-interest or short-term gain. It fosters global solidarity, consciously bridging cultural, national, and ideological divides to unite humanity under shared, fundamental values and a recognition of our common destiny on this planet.
Moving beyond us versus them.
That's the goal. And profoundly, it promotes environmental stewardship, cultivating a deep, almost sacred sense of responsibility toward preserving the Earth's delicate balance, its resources, and its biodiversity for future generations. It's positioned as a call to elevate our collective awareness from fragmented self-interest to a holistic understanding of our place within the global ecosystem and the broader cosmos.
How does the manifesto propose to embed this legacy, ensuring it's not just a passing ideal, but sustained and built upon through time so future generations truly inherit this transformed world? How do you make it stick?
The sustainability of Kalkiism, according to the sources, relies on meticulously embedding its principles into the very fabric of societal institutions, ensuring its values are continuously transmitted and reinforced across generations. This includes transforming educational systems.
Teaching it from the start.
Yes, where Kalki's principles would be integrated into school curriculums from kindergarten through higher education, nurturing future generations who inherently value equity, sustainability, and collective responsibility. It also involves ongoing leadership training programs to cultivate ethical, collaborative leaders embodying these ideals and promoting community learning initiatives for lifelong engagement and adaptation. For governance structures, the legacy means institutionalizing time as a universal currency, adopting decentralized governance models, and establishing robust global collaboration frameworks to address transnational challenges through a Kalkiist lens, ensuring fairness and sustainability become the default.
When culturally.
And finally, through vibrant cultural movements, leveraging art, literature, music, and media to spread Kalkiist values and narratives, fostering grassroots initiatives for local implementation, and seamlessly merging ancient wisdom with modern technology to create enduring, sustainable solutions that are both practical and inspiring, making it part of the cultural DNA.
What are the challenges in sustaining such a monumental legacy across centuries? Things fade, people forget, priorities shift. How are those addressed to ensure this blueprint endures?
The path to embedding Kalkiism as a lasting legacy is certainly not without formidable obstacles, as the human tendency can always revert to older patterns, especially those rooted in self-interest. Resistance to change from entrenched interests and cultural inertia remains a persistent challenge, even after initial adoption. The solution proposed is to continuously demonstrate the tangible benefits of Kalkiism through successful pilot programs and compelling, widely shared success stories, showing that this system truly leads to a better life for all, making it harder to go back.
Constant reinforcement.
Yes, global coordination is also inherently complex, as aligning diverse nations and cultures under a unified Kalkiist framework requires sustained diplomatic effort and constant dialogue. This is addressed by building strong coalitions, fostering continuous intercultural dialogue, and collaboratively tackling regional and global challenges with adaptability, keeping the framework relevant. Lastly, resource constraints for sustaining such a vast ongoing movement require substantial financial and human resources over the long term. The solution involves perpetually mobilizing international aid, fostering philanthropic contributions, and cultivating extensive volunteer networks, transforming collective human time and effort itself into the ultimate renewable resource to support these initiatives, ensuring the vision is self-sustaining and ever-evolving. This raises an important question for all of us, really. What kind of world are we actively building, not just for ourselves, but for those who will inherit it? The legacy of Kalkiism is about profoundly shaping that future, offering a blueprint for a continuous, harmonious evolution of humanity, moving beyond the Kali Yuga.
We've taken a remarkable deep dive today, haven't we? It's been a journey. From the ancient concept of the Kali Yuga describing our current global challenges, through the revolutionary vision of the Kalkiist Manifesto, born in Kathmandu with its unique blend of spiritual wisdom and cutting-edge expertise, to its detailed plans for universal education and healthcare, a truly radical time-based economy, and a complete redefinition of societal success through the gross domestic requirement, or GDR.
Indeed. We've seen how this comprehensive framework envisions addressing everything from profound inequality and environmental degradation to the very way we value work and community, all while leveraging technology in fascinating ways and requiring a completely new kind of collaborative, ethical, and adaptive leadership.
Yeah.
It's a truly audacious and holistic blueprint for collective harmony and sustainability, first piloted in Nepal, but with clear global aspirations for a lasting legacy that could reshape the very fabric of human civilization.
This deep dive reveals a truly audacious proposal for humanity's future, and it leaves us with a provocative thought, something for you to mull over. If the very fabric of our economy, our measure of success, and even our concept of wealth were to fundamentally shift to something like Kalkiism's time units and GDR, what deeply ingrained beliefs about work, value, and societal progress would you have to reevaluate first?